Mel. Vicky here. I would like to know, how do you get back on track when someone else crashes your morning routine?
Okay, give me a specific example.
So this morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, my mom got out of bed. She has dementia, and she couldn't find her dog, who was laying in the bed right beside her. So that's about the time that I start my routine. Hadn't made my bed yet, hadn't washed my hair yet, and it was just really hard to get back on track today.
I'm sure. And it's probably also hard given that she has dementia because you can't predict when that's going to happen.
Correct.
So let's go to the kindness piece, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Being kind to yourself, in my opinion, is also accepting life as it is and not making yourself wrong for the things that you need to do on a day-to-day basis to deal with your life as it is. See, we all have expectations, and I think there's a lot. I think that there are times where personal development can equal an attempt to be perfect. And that's not what I believe at all. I think we're all works in progress. I think unless you want to be a monk and live on your own, there's no way that you're going to be able to be in control every single day of your life. And that the skill, truly, everyone, is to ride the up and down waves of life and not have those waves that come crashing over take you down and leave you in a down. And, we want to be more like the raft that's riding the waves. And what takes you down even further when your mom who has dementia gets up and it really just, blows a hole in the way that your day is supposed to start is you mentally then start to beat yourself up for the fact that it didn't go how you wanted it to go. And the real skill in life, because there's always going to be ups and downs, everybody, always. And you don't want it any other way, because confidence, resilience, courage, it's like steel. It's forged in fire. Even in those low moments, you've got the biggest opportunity to build your confidence, to build your resilience. Resilience is the ability to not let your emotions hijack you when life happens. It's the ability to ride the waves. And you have a particular reality that I don't have right now. You have a mother with dementia. And accepting that that is going to derail certain things and learning how to be kind with yourself and allow yourself to ride that wave without making it mean I suck, I blew it, today sucks, we're off the rails, I might as well not wash my hair, I might as well not make the phone call. Now that this one thing happened, the whole thing is screwed. The real thing is, okay, we're off track for a half an hour and I only have 5 minutes now. What's the one thing I could do to ground myself? And I'm going to tell you what the one thing is. Put your hands on your heart. You've just dealt with this issue with your mom. It's upsetting because she's got dementia, which is upsetting, I'm sure. You put your hands on your heart. You go, I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm loved. Today is still going to be a good day. And then high five yourself in the mirror and get back out there. And skip the part where you make yourself wrong. Okay?
Perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And look, there are going to be some days, everybody. I've had a hell of a 6 weeks. I've probably done this sucker like 3 or 4 times a day. There ain't no shame in that. There is, what you don't want to do is just try to white knuckle your way through things. Put yourself in pause. Give yourself what you need. Be kind to yourself, because that's going to be kind of what you need. Like if you think about this from a sports analogy, if you blow it, you blow that free throw shot, you blow the field goal, you blow the penalty kick. You're like going like this. What does your team do? What does the coach do? It's all right. It's all right. Shake it off. Come on. We got this. We got this. High five. Get back out there. You got to learn to do that for yourself, because you can't rely on other people to do it. When you learn to build that in for yourself, that's where, wow, you start to tap into the superpower inside you. I think you forgot that when you were learning to crawl, I might have said this on the last training. I just love this data point. Confidence is in you, everybody. Resilience is in you. You came into this world perfect, whole, and complete. When you learned to walk, you fell on average 17 times an hour. You didn't lay there on the ground and go, well, I guess this is it. This is my life. Never going to learn to walk. No, you tapped into that confidence and that resilience that was within you to get up and try again. And thankfully, babies can't talk to themselves. That's why they keep trying. You realize that? If babies could talk to themselves, they'd convince themselves to stay on the floor.
This is Shannon. I'm so glad I got called on, because I have to just tell you, I just got laid off from a big retailer, and I was in the beauty division. And I was there when I think you approached our company. But anyway, it was an interesting experience. Beauty is definitely a special snowflake, different animal. Anyway, I've been laid off, and at first it was devastating, probably one of the biggest career rejections of my life. But since then, I've turned it around, and, really am looking forward to doing an entrepreneurial thing, but I'm terrified of the rejection. So thanks for your insight. My question is, how do you find kind of mentors or supporters to help you? GrowthDay is amazing, but to support you in a journey that you may be going on, that your kind of peer group or people you hang out with aren't really into?
Yeah. Such a good question. And thank you, Shannon. And I can tell you right away that even though you're talking about your fear around rejection and everything else, in the last, minute or two of your question, the time you lit up, the one time you lit up literally was when you said you're starting an entrepreneurial journey. And I think just want to call this out, that was really cool to see and to observe, right? Because usually when you see someone else light up about something, that's kind of when they're in their truth or their calling or something that feels maybe congruent with the path they're supposed to be on. So just to call that out, that was really fun to see. And if you watch back this GrowthDay coaching session, I want you to look for that moment, like when your eyes lit up, okay? And remember that moment on the hard days when you're not feeling your eyes lighting up. Remember that moment, because you're gonna need to remember it a lot. So here's the thing. Your question is something I think probably, I'm gonna guess 98% maybe of the GrowthDay community that's with us live right now has experienced, right? When we have friends and family around us that love us, but no interest in the stuff that interests us, or maybe no ability or capacity really to be supportive in the ways that we might need. And the first thing I just want to say is that that's okay, and that's very normal and very common. The journey I had to go on in my life was learning that some of my friends and family who I love dearly, who didn't believe in my ideas or didn't think it was the right decision for me to leave, TV news and start this thing from scratch, or whatever it might be, or just thought, oh, are you really a real author, or all the things, right? I've had to learn that it's really they have a different capacity to love and to dream and to support and to encourage than maybe that I do, or that I need around me, right? And so the first thing I want to say is, when you do have this experience, which I think so many of us have, and maybe some other people need to think about it this way too, I've had to flip my own mindset around how I feel when I don't get the kind of support or encouragement or interest from some of my friends and family who I love when I'm going after a dream or a goal or whatever it might be. And I've had to flip my mindset and realize, like, oh, it's not personal to me. It's not that they don't want to support me. They just have a totally different capacity to dream or to go after things. And that's okay, right? That's okay. And so, you know, what I've done and what I think is really important, I talk about this in Believe It as well, is this idea of controlling your microphone and who you hand it to. And what I mean by that is, when we love our friends and family, I would, you know, for a while, just really make sure you're right about this. But if they're not maybe supportive in the ways that you need, or you feel them almost talking you out of your hopes or dreams, or lowering your vibration, or saying things that start to turn into self-doubt, I think that you take the microphone back from them on that topic, on the things around your new entrepreneurial journey. And you talk to them about everything else and, you know, what's for dinner and all those things. And then really start working on curating people around you that you do hand your microphone to on this entrepreneurial journey. The GrowthDay community, certainly one of them. The coaches in here, yes. The people around you, right? I would encourage you. And, you know, I did this in my own life and I did it later in life as I really realized that the path I'm on, I needed to also surround myself with other people that kind of understood, or that dreamed big also, or believed big also, and were non-judgmental and all the things, right? Because when we're entrepreneurs, it feels like we're trying so hard to fly. And, you know, the first few years of most entrepreneurs' journeys, and sometimes it's the first decade, you feel like you're trying so hard to fly. And when you have people that feel like lead balloons attached to your wings, you can't take them on that part of your flight. You can still love them, but a lot of people get taken down by lead balloons. I don't know why that analogy just came to me, but I think it's really important, right? So I just want to encourage you. There's, you know, a lot of entrepreneurship communities out there as well that are just free online, people you can meet. But the GrowthDay community, I really believe if I could curate any community for you, it would be the GrowthDay community, because everyone here is like-minded and believes bigger and probably shares in common with you that maybe their friends and family aren't either, you know, don't have the capacity to even know how to support them with something like an entrepreneurial journey, because you are one of the courageous and brave few. I'm excited for you, and I'm mostly excited for you because I saw the spark in your eye when you said that. That was the one moment, the whole conversation. It didn't come up when you were talking about the retailer. It didn't come up when you were talking about the beauty industry. It literally, the moment you said that. So go back and watch that, because I think that was a really special moment, and hopefully this is helpful.
Thanks. Well, I just got your book, so I'll definitely crack that open too.
Okay, Shannon,
Thanks.
when you read it, don't let parts of it scare you about the entrepreneur journey, because I share it all. But I hope it helps you, and I hope that it helps. I tried to share all the real stuff that, if I heard these kind of stories that other people went through, I'd feel less alone and more enough and more right on the journey. So that's my hope and prayer for you too. So I'm
Thanks so
excited
much
for you, Shannon. Yeah.
Wendy.
Hi.
Wendy PG.
You know, I think it's funny because I'm wearing a dream is a wish your heart makes. And I said at the beginning of this year when I joined GrowthDay that I'm going to talk to you and
Yes,
we're going to
you
become
are.
friends. So
We're
I'm very
best
grateful
friends
for
now,
this.
Wendy. Come on, we're best friends.
Awesome. Well, I wanted to just say, when you said, you know, you want us to see ourselves in your story, have an empathy bridge, I feel like I really relate to that. I've gone through a lot in my life that kind of relates to what you've been through. And I remember sitting many, many times on my back patio and just staring off into the sky. I'm a connoisseur of the sky because that's where I feel like there's so much greater than me that I don't have answers to, and that gives me comfort in the chaos. I had a grandmother that was murdered. My dad died in a horrific motorcycle accident. My stepmom survived. I lost 3 babies. I almost lost my life. I went through a bad divorce. I've been through infidelity, all this stuff. And I met my husband. We have our 2 amazing rainbow babies. And I feel like my stepdad's going through terminal colon cancer right now. And I feel like life keeps presenting lessons over and over again until you're ready for them. And I don't think it was until BRENDON introduced GrowthDay and I really looked at myself and reading your last book and taking your challenge that, man, this life isn't about anyone else. This is what Wendy's life, Wendy's journey, Wendy's lane. What is it that I'm trying to learn from it? And I really feel like I have lived in the bitterness. I've lived in the chaos. I've lived in that struggle of just wearing my awfulness as a garb of comfort and security. And you were actually one of the proponents of why I just turned 40 and I went to Hawaii and I got this anchor, because I know I'm made for so much more than staying in my safe harbor. Like 40, a lot of people say, oh, I'm settling in my life, but no, this is the beginning of my life. My children are going to be 3 and 5. I have so much more that I want to show them. And I have learned through your teaching, BRENDON's teaching, like it's the simple reframe is the reframe that I need to hold on to, knowing that now, even though I'm going through hell right now, I've been able to look back and see, you know what, Wendy, you have found the light at the end of the tunnel from those situations, as much as it sucked to go through that. And as much as I wish I had the loves back in my life, like I've never learned more resilience than I have through the family that I have, through the people that I've lost. I've never had a better understanding of who I am because you guys have helped teach me that. One of the questions I struggle with and I have for you is the faith. Like me and God have always had a struggle. And I've a lot of times felt like I've been picked on in my life. And like, why would you allow this? Why would you allow this? But I've had to reframe and say, life happens and what is the good I'm going to do with it? My question for you is you reframe so much, but has there ever been a point when you were just so angry with God and you're just like, why are you bullying me? Like, I thought you loved me. Because a lot of people, I think, get stuck in the pain and they wonder, if you're a God of love, why, when you don't feel like you get answers, you feel like everywhere you turn there's a wall, or you feel abandoned and you just don't have those answers, when you can look at other people and they get it. So I don't know if my aha moment just hasn't come yet or what, but that is a serious question I have for you. Like, how can you help people to reconcile that, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, why do bad things happen to good people is like the paradox inside of faith that no one can answer. I mean, trust me, I have thrown my fists in the air and been very, very upset. God's big enough to handle our upset. Number one, like I can get super, super angry and he's still good. Like it's okay. The only thing I can say for me, at least in this last season, there's a verse, I think it's James 4:8, draw near to God and he'll draw near to you. And so I found in the midst of my hardest things, going against my instinct of pushing away and being angry and just like sitting out back on a patio of peace in a conversation that was like, man, I got to humble myself here and come a little closer. Let's see if there's anything that you might afford me in proximity. And it's happened, So, but I don't know, everyone's journey of faith is just a little bit different. What I can tell you for sure is the power of your willingness to take the perspective that you uniquely have in having been through everything that you have and bringing the light that can still exist, even though you could otherwise be angry and bitter and whatever else, because God knows you deserve to be whatever you want. The kind of hope that you might afford someone who's going through something that isn't necessarily even as bad as something that you've gone through could be the difference in someone still being alive, could be the difference in the way that they think about their ability to get through it as well. So in a wild way, I think God's going to use you to just be a profound light on anyone who's going through anything. And if you believe that, trust, like the intention of your creator may in fact be that after having been brought through every single thing that no one should ever have to experience, you could be someone that can say, and yet I still have hope. And yet I'm going to show up for my life as a thing that maybe affords them permission to do the same.
that was the other thing I was going to say. I feel like God made me for bigger things. I don't know what that looks like yet. I've been a writer for over a dozen years, but I didn't get my tattoo till I was 38. But the first part is it's my journey through words. That's my tagline as a writer. And that's how I express myself. And it's on my left hand because that's what I write with. I put it on my left forearm because the vein that goes from your ring finger goes to your heart. And so the things that are most important to me, my faith, my marriage, my kids, yellow butterflies remind me of my babies. There's a butterfly on my M and wings in the shape of an R for my dad, Rick, and for Ricky, River, and Rain, my babies in heaven. And I will not waste a moment anymore in bitterness. And instead, I will make them proud. And so my hope is to encourage whatever catalyst that might look like for those who are hurting to say, yes, that mattered. It might not look like it to somebody else, but to that one person, that's my hope. And so I just thank you and Brendan so much for just the simple words of reframing, for reverence for life, and for just being resilient in the fact that growth and sorrow and joy can live simultaneously, because it has been life-changing for me. So thank you.
So real. Good for you. I'm proud of you, Wendy. Honestly, you're going to honor the legacy of your humans, all of them, with every good thing you do for the rest of your life. I'm proud of you.
Andrew Schubauer, how are you doing? You're out there getting a run in the woods, my man.
That's right. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, man. I wish I was out hanging with you right now. My allergies might pick up, but so far I'm good.
Fair enough. So my question to you is actually, I love your resilience. I think it's so important. Being strong is great, but being resilient is way better. But my question is, when you're going through your process, being resilient, showing up consistently, what do you have to say to people when, in relation to authenticity, like what happened if you were doing your 90 second videos and you got to like day 200, and you just felt like this isn't right for me. And you went through the work. It's not fear. It's not, anything like that. It's not any specific barrier or unhealthy barrier. But you just find out, maybe this isn't right for me. Like at what point do you make that decision?
So I think there's two things.
Maybe change.
Yeah. So there's two things I look at here. Whenever I find that I question if it's right for me, I then immediately go, well, why was I doing it in the first place? Because right and wrong is relative to the place I'm going is the first thing you got to think about. I don't think people think about it. They just do something and they grab habits and do things because so-and-so said I should, and I saw somebody else. So you'll notice when I told you about the videos, I wanted to be able to speak in fluid thought with ums and ahs not be an issue. So whether or not somebody watched did not determine whether it was good or bad. Now, if I'd started that with the goal of having a bunch of views, it would have maybe looked like it was bad. You see what I'm saying? So you got to anchor and say, what is the reason I am starting this in the first place, right? Then what you said, which was good, is if I'm getting to that point of like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, I would ask myself in the moments, like, is that my moment of feeling this? Is this because it's hard or because genuinely I'm not connected to the heart of it anymore? And that's a personal thing, because there are things that I'll realize it's just hard, but I want to do it. But then there's things I realize, like, you know what? I'm not connected to it. For example, I don't do nightly 90s anymore. I did 1,333 straight days. 333 is a specific special number to my life. But here's what I realized. It wasn't as hard anymore. It was still difficult and, I was still doing it, but it didn't speak to my heart anymore. I'd kind of got what I wanted out of it. And my heart wasn't like, I wasn't lit up doing it. I didn't enjoy what was going on in the background, whatever it was. It wasn't bad. It wasn't hurting anybody's life. And some people were sad that I stopped doing them, to be quite honest, but it didn't speak to my heart. And so at that moment, I was like, you know what, if it's not talking to my heart anymore, I'm not going to keep doing it, because what it does, it builds resentment for what I'm doing, and it builds a little bit of a pain to do it. And now I'm not having the energy I want inside to serve how I want. So first thing is figure out if it's going the place you want, and then that's what determines right or wrong. And then two, check the heart or if it's hard. Cool.
Thank you so much. I knew there was a reason I wanted to ask you that question.
Hey, man. Awesome. See, hey, now you got a little answer. There you go.
This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember and you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.